the emergence of Herman Cain, that he actually led at some point, that he won the Florida poll, that we had this singing pizza guy who was, doing so very well in the Republican primary.
How much the Romney campaign felt he had to go right, how worried they were about his history, his reputation as a flip-flopper, his reputation, especially among grassroots conservatives, as not one of them and not credible. So they lurched so far right, worried about the Tea Party, probably overly worried about the Tea Party on issues like immigration and other issues, and it hurt him in the general election without a doubt.
I think one is the explosion in super PAC spending. You know, the Citizens United Supreme Court case has changed American politics forever. You know, when we started building this thing, I don't think we thought that, there'd be over $500 million spent against us. And I think we were slow to react to it. And if I had one regret, I think we waited too long to figure out how to deal with super PACs.
There was so much talk in 2008 about small donors and how grassroots everything was. Not this time. Now it was about big money, big checks, and influencing outcomes in a fairly overt way, all of it legal. And that was kind of a surprise to see.
I was also very surprised by the collapse of Rick Perry in the primary. I think it was a surprise to all of us to see the governor of Texas come in with such pomp and all of his Texas Rangers, and then all of a sudden just collapse in the debates.
The quick fizzle of Rick Perry came in with a lot of buzz, came in with a lot of conservative grassroots support, came in with a ton of money. Gone. Was supposed to be a big impact player, turned out to have almost no impact on the race.
The second thing I think that was a huge surprise is how broken public polling is. You know, national public polls that Americans have come to trust got this race wrong the entire way, and I think it's a big kind of assessment that has to happen on how people are polling, what their screens are, what their techniques are, and hopefully conferences, like the Harvard conference is a time when people can really reassess, how that is.
Obama people have said that the only two things that surprised them were the president's poor performance in the first debate, which is true, and surprised me as well, but also what happened with the 47% tape and this moment in which we saw kind of unvarnished Mitt Romney, not in a flattering way, making a naked appeal for support. And the Democrats benefited from the 47%, the Republicans benefited from the debate performance, the president's debate performance, and we saw neither of those things coming.
The single most surprising thing we learned was that door knocking matters more than anything. With the huge explosion in media dollars and how much TV everyone buys, we learned the single most persuasive thing you can do is have a friend or neighbor talk to a swing voter about why they're supporting the president. And so we used every technology in the world to help do that, but what we learned is a simple door knock really did make a big difference.
I was surprised that the Obama campaign did exactly what it said it would do. That might sound surprising, but they said at the beginning, we will find all those African Americans and we will turn them out. And they did, even though African American unemployment is the highest subset across the economy. You would have thought it would have dropped just a little bit. They didn't let that happen. The youth vote, you would think the percentage of the youth vote in the electorate would have dropped a little bit. It wasn't history this time. There wasn't much excitement this time. If you visited college campuses, it looked very different than 2008. So you would say, aha, that's going to drop a little bit. It didn't drop. As a percentage, it actually increased. So the degree to which the Obama campaign was able to use the luxury of no primary challenge and to use those months and those millions to methodically build a turnout operation that did things that I didn't think they would be capable of doing.
Probably the biggest surprise was that this campaign never got big. I kept waiting and expecting for it to be about competing visions, about optimism, about tomorrow. And we seem to have been stuck in little things, discussing dancing horses and dogs for the longest time, and really never got to that big vision versus big vision moment. I think it was a detriment to the campaign, and that was a surprise that we could have gotten through such a long, expensive campaign without seeing some real big, bold ideas and vision from either of the candidates.